Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk to you about the 5 stages of closeness that often take place when healing our relationship dynamics. So, before I dive into this, I want you to start by just sort of like holding in your mind what type of relationship you are looking to repair. Is this a romantic relationship? Is this a family relationship? Is this a relationship with an old friend you're trying to reconnect with? Or perhaps more of a close co-working relationship, perhaps the business partner or somebody you work very, very closely with the vast majority of the time. And the reason I want you to start by thinking of who this will apply to is because this isn't, when I'm talking about these stages of closeness in relationship reparation, this doesn't apply too much to our less intimate relationships. So like the coworker we sort of know and we've never spent time with outside of work, this doesn't apply to that. This is specifically for more intimate relationships. So think of a person that you are working to repair a relationship with. And I want you to start by just defining what you would like the outcome to be with this person. Okay, so imagine for a moment, do you want, to be speaking every day? Do you want to completely repair trust in a relationship and be able to share everything? Like, where do you want to get to? And then the different stages of closeness within our relationships as we're working on them really start with stage 1. And this stage is the beginning stage. And in this stage, it is really important that we're cautious. We're learning what our boundaries are with this person. So let's imagine, for example, that it's a family member, perhaps a parent that you haven't spoken to in 10 years, and you're just starting to reconnect. It's not going to be the best time to dive in head first and expect that everything goes smoothly right away and that you can have deep conversations and completely be in a healed place immediately. So stage 1 is really about like checking things out, being cautious, being intentional about what type of relationship you'd like to have with this person, and creating those little small action steps in order to get closer to being there. This stage is characterized by the importance of being slow moving, but consistent. Okay, though both of those pieces are key. If anybody moves too fast, a lot of emotion can come up before we're willing to process things, right? Because this is the relationship reparation stages, right? This isn't like, how you're getting closer and closer to somebody you already know really well and are in a great place with. So it's important you're cautious. It's important that you're slow moving, but it's also important that you're very consistent with your ability to show up and continuously communicate. And in this stage, it's also really important that you're defining and redefining boundaries. Like, what is this looking like? How often do we want to communicate? How often do we want to connect? And so on. In stage 2, once we sort of get a nice flow going where there's a pattern of consistent communication that's going positively and going well, then we enter into the rebuilding stage. And it's important in this stage that we actually do rehash certain parts of the past. So if there's a reason that this relationship has obviously fallen apart at some point in time, then you want to get to know each other from the past and be able to sort of rehash what was there that needs to be acknowledged or addressed. So perhaps this is an apology, perhaps this is accountability or ownership. Maybe there was a falling out and you want to sort of take ownership for your part and request that somebody else owns their part. Like, hey, I want you to see that I hurt as well, that was hard for me too, sort of thing. So that's the first sort of set of characteristics. And the other set of characteristics in the rebuilding phase are then getting to know each other more in the present. So you sort of go into the past, rehash what needs to be cleared out, sort of clear the air. And then you get into a position where you're trying to make an effort to know this person now as they are now. And the idea here is to be able to release one another from the projected roles or assumptions you've given about each other based on those old past experiences. And then really validating the newness of the person you see here. Okay, because we don't stay in the box of our past. And a lot of times when I was working with couples, what I would see is that both couples would sort of push each other into the box of the past. Like I would see people come in from week 1 to week 6, let's say, and they're making these huge breakthroughs and they're communicating differently and they're really making a huge effort. And then there's a misstep where one partner is too critical one week. And then the other partner says, see, you always criticize me. And I would have to pause people and be like, hold on a moment. Like you're discounting everything that's happened day after day for the past 6 weeks. And it's important that may be your old story of your wife being critical, but look at all the progress she's made in terms of communicating more directly and speaking up for her needs. And to keep her in this box of her past that she's always so critical is really unfair right now. And so you need to see that she's making an effort and she's not that same person. And, and vice versa. So we would get them to see that, hey, we do make strides, we can make strides. And that same principle or idea really applies to any reparation of a close and intimate relationship, which is you want to be able to get out of that box of the past and not just say, oh, you always do this, or you're still the same person that does that, because that's not necessarily the case. And stage 3 is we're sort of rebuilding a relationship and becoming more close. We'll see that there's now the trust stage we enter into. And this means we've cleared the air for what needs to be cleared. We've had some consistency and opened up and communicated a little bit in the dynamic to the point of warming up. And now we actually practice more vulnerability. So this means sharing more about life, asking for advice, opening up about your feelings, learning that it's okay to rely on one another a little bit, and actually building that bond and establishing that trust. And as people move through that, they then get into stage 4, which is deeper connection, and feeling this natural sense of ease in their ability to open up, to share, to understand one another more deeply, to communicate more openly and more often. And this is really building that sense of normalcy in the relationship, actual sense of intimacy and closeness. And then once people get through that, they get into stage 5, which is the comfort and authenticity phase. And this is all about somebody can fully be themselves. They can fully share their needs. They can be fully comfortable chatting about pretty much anything, comfortable in silence as well, not have to be on around this person, and really be comfortable doing anything together and feeling like they really enjoy each other's company and can be themselves. And so when we talk about this, the idea here is to have an awareness of how things tend to progress, but not all relationships are meant to be stage 5 relationships as we work on relationship reparation. And by the way, these are stages of closeness in relationship reparation. If you want to see a much deeper dive and you want to go into how to actually repair a relationship, then you can click on the link in the description box below and you can start for free. We have a 7-day free trial lined up, and that gives you access to all of our courses, including our How to Repair Any Relationship course, which goes through all sorts of steps. These are just stages of closeness that you can look out for as you're moving through and repairing a relationship and healing a dynamic. And so going back to what I said is not all, not all relationships are meant to be comfort and authenticity relationships where you're truly yourself and you're fully opened up. There are going to be times where things are imperfect, and there's going to be people in our life that maybe they are, a toxic person. Maybe they're a toxic figure in our lives. Maybe they're really, really unhealthy. And maybe you're not supposed to be in a position where you speak to them regularly. Maybe there's somebody you want to just touch base with once a month and have a firmer boundary, because that's the best version of that relationship for you. When you take yourself into consideration, you listen to your feelings and you know what your boundaries are. But these are some really important things to be aware of if you're trying to get to that 5th stage and really repair things. Is some important sort of rites of passage to a certain degree that need to take place in each of these previous phases first. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.